Hey guys, so if you're here, you're likely here because you want to learn how to eat better more often, how you can eat carbs, how you can eat a lot of food and still lose body fat. So today I'm going to walk you through that in a couple of minutes, maybe 5 to 7 minutes. There are really three things I want to talk about today. And if you've been following me along on social, I've been journaling my food as a coach, and I've done this in the past, but I decided to do it again recently. I've been sharing on social media pictures of what I've been eating with the calories and all that. And today I'm going to break down a little bit of the feedback that I have for you after doing that for the last 10 days. Okay. In three pieces, really. Number one, as you can see here, is it's not easy to do, right? So tracking your calories, putting everything that you eat all day long into an app is not the easiest thing to do. Even though the apps are much easier now, a lot of the entries I was making, I was either just talking into the phone or taking a picture and uploading it. That's very easy. However, it's not always easy to remember to do, especially when you want to just grab a bite of something or these little things. So it's not perfect, okay? But that's not really the point. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting good enough data to move forward and make progress from, okay? So I could go deeper on that. I mean, look, I split tested a few things, and sometimes I would take the same picture of the food in two different times, but the same food, and the data would not come back exactly the same. But that, again, is not the point. There's always going to be a margin of error for many reasons. And it is something I believe that's worthwhile to do if you've never done it before for a short period of time, not for the long term for most people, for the following two reasons that we'll get into. Okay. Number two is this: you are almost certainly consuming more calories than you think you are, and also more calories from fat, one of the three major macronutrients, than you think you are. Now, let me get into a little bit of, I'll show you some other tabs, show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So, first, if you look here, this was my fat content average for the week, right? I have this. I can send you, whoever wants to see this. I'll send you the links. But this was the table of actual data, and then when you put it into a pie chart, you can see that I was eating 40% of my diet last week was from fat. And the simple reason to explain that is that fat is the most calorie dense of all the macronutrients. It's more than twice as dense as protein or carbs. And so every time you eat a tablespoon of olive oil, that's like 110 to 120 or more calories for just a little tablespoon, right? So all the foods, and particularly if you're someone who eats out a lot, this is where what most people will find. I cook 90% of my food, maybe even 95. And so the fat that's in my diet, I'm highly aware of it. Um, if you're not cooking and you're eating out, restaurants have a tendency to put way too much oil and fat into their food, and your pie chart might not only look like this, but it most likely has a even higher total number of calories. So we're going to get into the numbers and what that means. But simply put, for the moment of this video, is if you've never journaled or logged your food before, most likely you're eating more total calories than you think you are, if you have a guess, and also that more of those calories are coming from fat. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? If it's under control, so to use a phrase, if it's in balance is a better phrase, okay? Because as you can see here, I'm super fit, super lean, and I do typically eat a high fat diet, around this much. And, I might try, after doing this experiment, I might up my protein a bit and maybe lower my carbs a drop. And we'll talk about carbs as well. But eating that amount of fat is not necessarily going to make you fat. It's about the context of what you're eating, and also, of course, the total calorie count. Speaking of total calorie count, you can see here that my average was over 3,000 calories a day. And so this is going to lead as a segue into the third and final bullet point for this video, that it is absolutely possible to eat a lot of food, including carbohydrates, and lose fat. Okay? And I will explain. So, as you can see here, I did this experiment, began the day after the Super Bowl when my weight was a little higher than usual, and ended it after Valentine's Day, which is another day with included more cookies and things like that. And even though I averaged 3,000 calories a day, I still lost 0.8 pounds last week. And I am not someone who's even trying to lose fat. Okay, if I were trying to lose fat, I might have eaten a little less. So maybe a 10 or 20% deficit off that, because I lose weight very quickly, so I don't need to do much there. I don't need to cut much, but you can eat a lot of food, even, depending on your activity level, it could be this much food and still lose weight. And it certainly, for most people, doesn't have to be under 2,000 calories, right? And I've coached diets like that before where they get into the 1,500 calorie, 1,000 calorie range. And that is basically starvation. And it's not that you can't do that for a day or two. You can. You can even do that for a little longer, but it's just not a sustainable place to be. And it leads to problems in most cases. Okay. You can absolutely take a much more manageable approach to this and, eat in a modest deficit off of wherever your target calories are. Let's just say your target is 3,000. You could eat 2,700, 2,600 on average per day and lose fat. And you don't need to be this precise with the tables and the charts and this, but I also want to show you something else. Your weight will not stay the same every day, but if you look at the midline of last week, it's trending down. But it does go up and down on a day-to-day basis. Interestingly, quick thing is, I lost after the thing. One thing is this 1 week is a very small sample size. All right, that's not enough of a sample size, and sometimes people tend to overreact to this. Like, I ate almost 4,000 calories on the 12th, and then on the 13th, my weight was lower because it's not that yes, what you ate the day before matters, but it also matters what you ate in the days leading up to that day and what your energy needs are. And it's more of a blend and it's more of a long-term thing. So yes, we look at day to day, but we also want to look at weekly and monthly trends. Okay. So, but sticking on target for this video and keeping it brief so we don't go too long, your weight's not going to stay the same every day. It's going to go up and down. It's the trend that we care about. And what we should probably wrap this video up with is the foods. I didn't talk at all about the foods I ate. And I'm happy to share this full journal with you. I already have online. But we don't eat calories, we eat food. So here is a picture. Now, I didn't capture photos of every single thing I ate, but this is like a lot of my food journal from last week. And you can see that it certainly includes carbohydrates. I'm eating rice. I'm eating vegetables. I'm eating granola. I'm eating oatmeal. I'm eating more rice, more rice. I love rice. Eggs are my favorite food. I'm eating potatoes. And I'm eating beef jerky and chocolate and cookies and nuts and pasta, right? And lots of food that is that is good and fun to eat and good for you at the same time. So it is absolutely possible to eat lots of food, including carbohydrates, and lose fat. And thank you. Since we're hitting the 8-minute mark here, I'll wrap the video up by saying I am more than happy to help you customize this, guys, so that you don't have to go on a crash diet. I can help you set your appropriate target, make a plan that fits into your life, and actually eat better more often and get more fit.